Fuck this. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another Film Team 6 commentary. I'm Dylan Waxon. I am the co-creator, co-star of this film, Battlegrounds, a PUBG fan film. And today I'm joined by Mac Laxon.
I am the lead star, editor, and VFX artist of this very film that you are watching.
Yeah. And so,
He does not want to be here.
I mean, we'll admit I think at this point we're only doing this for content to keep the algorithm happy. But here we get this is sort of like our first crack at doing our usual kind of like 70s 80s grindhouse exploitation movie homage, which will kind of be a staple for pretty much all of our movies that follow. This is sort of like a trial run. It's also probably our first guy walks into a house and shoots people movie. I mean, we've had others released before this because we started shooting this. What was it, 2018? Or?
20. Well, we started shooting. Okay, if you guys don't know, we actually shot like different versions of this movie before getting to the actual project.
So this whole thing, because you'll eventually see it directed by Junsei One, not entirely. Yeah, it wasn't, but it was sort of his and my brother Mac's idea to make this movie. They're the PUBG guys. They're the gamers. I'm not so much of a gamer. Not a huge PUBG fan. So it was pretty much their idea to just make a fan film, wasn't it?
Yeah, I believe.
Why?
So. I think we just wanted to play with guns.
This is around the time that we were really getting into airsoft guns, so it was just kind of a what? It was just a kind of I guess excuse to actually use them in something. This whole movie shot on our Sony
two Sony camcorders.
Yep. What?
Yeah, we shot different versions. Like one of them took place at night, and another one we shot in our.
I think it's another case where it was just supposed to be like this fun little this fun little side project between Mac and Junseo. So they were just having fun, just shooting like whatever in a backyard, and I'm like, oh, what's going on here? You guys are making a movie? Oh, I might want to add this, and that, and it just ended up being again needlessly convoluted, ridiculous production. It goes way over time and over schedule. That's kind of par for the course with Film Team 6 movies. One thing you'll notice is that the color grading, we could not stick to a proper color grade for like the first 10 minutes of this movie.
Maybe the first 35 minutes of this movie, I'd say.
That's not even true. I mean, we get a bit more consistent as it goes on. I mean, you'll immediately notice kind of like the different seasons changing because, we started shooting this around 2019, and then the last shots were taken around 2020. You can instantly see, boom, the grass goes from, entirely green to, dried up because this was the summer of 2020 over here. Mac's hair is also way shaggier. What was your original? So, I mean, I guess it's not that hard to believe that there was no script for this movie. It was just kind of a vague plot outline you guys made.
It's plot outline, then we did make a script because there was actually supposed to be a lot of speaking lines between me and Bob. When we team up, and even our main villain was supposed to speak as he.
Okay, well, what was your story? Because this movie, it's clearly not very plot driven.
It's pretty much the same story, but I guess without the whole roof bit. But I mean, otherwise the same thing where we just get ambushed and then me and Bob team up and then there's a sniper that's trying to kill both of us.
Well, who are they? What are their motivations? What were the dialogue? Because that's part of the reason why it was my choice to have there be like no dialogue throughout the entire movie, because it sort of like tells, it's almost like a Looney Tunes or a Tom and Jerry cartoon where it tells like this complete story that's purely motivated by the character's actions and emotions and not so much like the dialogue. It was kind of an interesting experiment to almost make like this silent movie with no dialogue. So yeah, I mean, I guess due to the simplicity of the story, I just didn't really see the need for any dialogue at all.
Well, I mean, the dialogue was just supposed to be. I don't know how to describe it because that's just like
take cover, fire,
yeah.
Fuck you.
Just like us teaming up. What should we do? Where do we go? Oh, we found this. Oh, well, yeah. Me and Bob were supposed to find the dead, bloody guy upstairs. So we'd also make jokes about that or unintentional quips about it. But yeah, we dropped it. We dropped all the dialogue.
So this movie, I mean, did you always have in mind? No, I think when you first made it, you didn't really have like a strong like directorial vision behind it. It
No,
was just
no,
kind of just shoot
yeah,
it however, whenever.
yeah, it's just all on the spot. I
It
mean,
was-
to be fair, that's how most of our movies go.
I mean, but usually at the start we kind of have like, okay, I want this to be paying homage to this filmmaker. I want it
Ripping
to be
off.
shot in the style of this subgenre. So it's a little bit later when we kind of gave it like this sort of horror edge to it.
Yeah, it was
give
meant to
of
be
a
more
John
of like an
Carpenter.
action comedy, more modern.
More of an action comedy, yeah, more modern. It was kind of only later on when we decided to overtly make it a 70s throwback, use of synth music, John Carpenter music, having all like these long zooms.
Which he didn't.
What do you mean?
Carpenter never.
Oh well, yeah, I know Carpenter didn't normally do that, but I guess just 70s grindhouse movies in general. So yeah, movies like John Carpenter movies or Texas Chainsaw, Hills Have Eyes, were sort of the big influences to this one. Not so much action movies. I don't think we were super familiar with 70s action movies.
A lot of 70s action movies for this.
Oh, although I mean, if you notice at the start, obviously it has like the kind of a weird white balance with a sort of like harsh pale blue lighting where everything looks overexposed. That was partially
because this man didn't know what he was doing.
Yeah, we didn't know what you were doing throughout most of this. I mean, even until now. But early on, Craig Zahler's Brawl Cell Block 99, because that movie was sort of a throwback, a 70s throwback action movie. Another influence in this one also with like kind of the ultra violence. So I mean that movie has a very harsh, overexposed color palette as well. So I think they're trying to capture that sort of for the opening scene, and then we just dropped it because we realized it just looked really ugly.
And I tried to salvage it by trying to match it to all the other normally.
Yeah, this is the best looking outcome possible. It looked much worse looking at the final. Well, this is probably our best gore effect over here. The gore in this movie in general leaves a lot to be desired, but at least it has kind of like that mushy texture. It doesn't just feel like, food colored water.
Well, it's obvious ketchup.
Now followed by this really fake looking eye. It's a hard boiled egg and a JPEG image of of an iris cut out from a piece of bond paper stuck on. Yeah, not a great effect. Probably would have done that differently now. It's also kind of this is our longest video on our channel, isn't it?
At the time of recording,
At least, not including like our making of documentaries, but I don't know. I mean, yeah, obviously the film itself is like shit, but I think it was an important kind of like stepping stone. It was a stepping stone, I think, into actually making more competent short films afterwards, and kind of learning to stage and block action scenes. This is almost like a training exercise. And many of our tropes and our kind of like stylistic proclivities are already kind of on display over here. Sparse use of music during scenes like this. Long zooms. Like long drawn out sequences of quiet tension.
And we were actually supposed to make. We actually had a lot of plans for follow-ups to BLUBG.
To this movie?
Yeah.
Did we?
Went during the making of it, not afterwards, but because we were all still to PUBG then, and so yeah, we were like seeing how we can really milk the idea.
Were you planning like sequels or what?
I mean, I know. We actually Bob wrote like sequels that pertain to the different modes in the game.
Oh yeah, wasn't one like supposed to have zombies? Mode. Yeah.
And then, another plan was to like kind of do the same thing, but in like different styles that would like progress for each type of decade. Like this one's 70s, and then we would do an 80s throwback, and then 90s, and then 2000s. Mm-hmm. But like with most of our projects, they never pull through.
Also, another kind of trademark of ours is our use of practical blood squibs. which we use here. And again, not perfect, but I think this did kind of lead on to better uses of blood squibs in our later work. So this is kind of a good way to sort of exercise. We can see over here Mac profusely bleeding through his vest. And over here, our good friend, Happy New User, whose true identity and face will forever be concealed. So I forget. Did we shoot? I mean, did we start shooting this movie before any of the John Thick movies?
Yeah, this is even before part 2. This is the first action thing we filmed.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so why did we just abandon this and then in favor of John Thick, or like?
I mean, no, we were always done shooting. It was just on the edit for so long.
Okay, so yeah, so we shot most of this over, I don't know, what was it, a couple of months, wasn't it?
Like maybe
mid 2019,
March
to late
to June.
Okay,
or July maybe.
All right. Well, most of that was in 2019, and then it just kind of sat on the editing dock for like over a year, and then for over a year, I don't know, why was there such a delay? Did we just grow tired or bored of it, or what?
I think so, and because there's just like kind of my first time tackling so much VFX and ADR, or like
Oh, that's true. That's another thing. This is kind of like, again, obviously the CGI muzzle flashes, not perfect, but that is something that we eventually kind of like through trial and error got better at, and in our later projects it looked a lot better.
Yeah, debatable. That's a flashbang effect.
The cut to white. Honestly, I mean, given our budget and our resources, I feel like that's like the best possible outcome of that. There could have been some smoke, I guess. That's the only thing we could have added. And I think this is a pretty interesting idea, like concept of an action scene, having like them kind of shoot between this van. I think this has potential. Hell, and high impact. We probably could have done something like this. It's I think a pretty fun idea for an action scene.
Then obviously throwing plastic containers, a technique that would be used in a later.
Honestly, I think it looks more convincing here.
It's because it's further.
Well, yeah, exactly. We knew how to shoot it. We knew how to shoot around our limits. Some pretty solid squibs. And yeah, I think we still didn't know how to focus, how to actually focus our lenses then. I mean, we didn't have a lens because it was just a hand cam.
Yeah, I think it was probably autofocus actually.
Autofocus.
Yeah, which is something real cinematographers hate to hear.
It certainly didn't help that we bought our cameras imported from like China or something, and China, where are they from?
I don't know.
Well, either way, the instructions were in Chinese, and we couldn't figure out how to get them into English, so we were just kind of winging it as we were figuring out the features.
Not for this cam, our first cam, because by the way, the main camera that we used throughout this movie broke thanks to this man over here dropping it in the roof's gutters filled with water. Absolute genius. And after like 2 weeks or a month, it just stopped working. We had to get another one, which is the one that was stuck in Chinese, which actually I knew how to get through it, but there was no option to change the language. So yeah, thanks to this genius here.
And Happy New User has now switched to me. Once again, playing multiple characters in this movie.
In all of our movies.
I forget. See, actually, no, he's not actually drinking Red Bull, is he?
No, we didn't have any Red Bull. Yeah, we didn't have any Red Bull cans at the time. We had before, but I think we lost them or somebody drank them, so we had to resort to almond milk instead of going to the grocery.
I mean, explain the significance of Red Bull in PUBG.
It's a healing item, when you're low.
I like how he pulls out 3 like bullets with a casing straight out of his head.
We were too lazy to actually pull them out of their casing. again, something that would go on to our current movies. And that's how he got sick for like 5 months. Drinking that tap water.
Oh, and here's our fake vinyl player. That
No,
turns
it's totally real.
I mean, it turns to death, and now it's a real vinyl player. And those are your hands. Yeah, here's like just a random, weird, wannabe artsy scene.
Which, by the way, that's his idea.
This is my idea.
I had no part in it.
I was like, whatever, man. I was like 18, 19. 18 when we started filming this, just this pretentious wannabe filmmaker. And this is just kind of one of the random, I guess, kind of like a moment of pause and reflection for our main characters. This song, Bayou Bayou, it's like a Russian.
We just searched for a creepy Russian song.
Creepy Russian lullaby. I think this is also the movie that caused our sort of falling out with Zooms. With Zooms as a whole, we really like refrained from using them for a while. Even though, I mean, again, if you're familiar with 70s cinema in general, you know that a lot of those older, like especially like the grindhouse, like exploitation movies, really spam the hell out of their Zooms. Nope. This is our most risque stunt over here, dropping an actual water glass on the floor. We had to sweep that up before Mom and Dad came down. Oh, this is a funny shot. If you notice, my head over here, I'm not wearing bandages. I'm just wearing a random towel on my head because we were using that same like 2 meters of bandages throughout the whole shoot, and they really began to smell at some point. So I guess I was kind of sick of them. You can see over here, I'm not even wrapping them around my head anymore. I'm just kind of like half-assedly throwing it over. And my glasses are hanging onto my shirt. We really did not give a fuck.
We still don't give a fuck to some extent.
Was I waiting for my cue?
I think so.
I think he scratched the record player there too. Yeah, I think we scratched the record.
It's fine.
As you'll notice here, bullet wounds are but mere flesh wounds in this movie. And there's a tripod. Which I don't know if we've ever even used a tripod at any point in this movie.
No, I don't think there's every. Oh wait, only one shot.
One of the good things about these consumer grade handy cams is their built-in
gimbal.
stabilizers. Yeah.
Well, that is actually pretty anachronistic for the time because if you look at a lot of grindhouse movies, they're shaky as hell when they go handheld.
Mm-hmm.
Like you wouldn't have smooth.
Well, this would be kind of an equivalent,
like
I guess, of a shoulder rig or a steady cam.
Steadicams were the thing in the early 70s, so.
Fine, the late 70s. This is what would have been a video nasty in the early 80s. Yeah, that was very comfortable, lying down with the rotting bandages around my face with expired tomato sauce.
On the bottom left corner.
Mm-hmm. Del Monte's tomato sauce in my face. It's very comfortable. And then here we have what is this? It's like wet tissue paper dyed red. Just puking them out. I don't know what that's supposed to be.
It was meant to go on for longer, which I kind of wish I did, just to gross people out.
To go full auto?
No, for you to, because we shot more coverage of you puking your guts out.
Mm-hmm. More ketchup. And Bob switches to his stunt double, played by me. I think I nailed the way he runs pretty well.
And then also dubbed by you for that one grunt.
I think that's me behind the camera just giving him directions. And you can see the arm throwing it up, and you can see Happy New User sitting in the couch using his phone. It's not very good at taking cover.
He's lucky that everybody in this movie is the worst shot ever, and that gun wounds don't actually hurt.
Yeah, I think we did a tally, and like Junseo or Bob's character is the deadliest, most efficient killer in this whole film. He kills me. He kills both of me, actually. He kills me and the Winter Soldier, who is played by me. Or what's he credited as? The Super Soldier?
The sniper, I think.
The sniper. Yeah, and then you only get one kill. Actually, Bob also presumably kills the guy by the swimming pool we saw earlier, so yeah, I guess he's the MVP. Team.
Yeah, there's supposed to be dialogue over here. Well, yeah, there's supposed to be dialogue of us meeting up.
Oh, I mean, great focus over there.
That's why we don't do...
Thank you, autofocus.
Yeah, that's why we don't do autofocus anymore.
Weirdest way of counting down with your fingers.
And you have me really struggling to get through these pile of leaves.
We're kind of sort of prolonging pretty solid dolly zoom over there.
I mean,
that helmet necessary. I think is more of a burden than it is like, you know, like protection to you.
And we just had to get our nature coverage because artsy.
I mean, it's to indicate passage of time while the villain kind of like... I believe there is some missing footage of him kind of like...
healing up.
Yeah. Kind of tending to his wounds. That's a pretty solid CGI shell casing.
I don't think so. If you go
it's missing its... The grenade's missing its pin. It's just a lever.
I mean, it still won't explode.
Loosely hanging. But there should be a pin, or else it's gonna come off.
Well, that's because we lost the pin for this fake grenade. I mean, sorry, real grenade. Totally real.
Yes, definitely a real grenade, as you can tell from this very realistic explosion that ensues.
And also very weird tactics where he runs before I cover fire.
Yeah, that is not how cover fire works.
And then he points at me.
I mean, he was giving cover fire. You were giving cover fire to him, so he can throw the roof, which should injure or distract him. I mean, and then you'd have time to run forward. Because he's unarmed. He doesn't have. I mean, Bob doesn't have a gun.
No, he ran before I started firing.
Oh, I think that's just shitty coordination. Yeah,
we don't know how military tactics work.
Mm-hmm. This is a.
Smooth pan over the
pretty smooth pan over the stair railings. I'm not even sure how I did that. It's like I just climbed over them or something. And here's this very like split second shot. Very necessary.
I have no idea what you want to do. I mean,
I don't know why you left it in.
No, he told me to put it in. I initially just cut to that me kicking Dora, but he wanted that shot, and I think to like have continuity within this shot, this very lackluster.
Also, okay, I feel like we have to explain the following scene to a lot of people because I don't feel like it was properly communicated in this movie. So
thanks to Mr. D's direction.
So as we know earlier, Junseo killed my character or Javi's character in this room. You know, his dead body was in here, and so within that those 5 seconds that Mac had between him and the sniper, he managed to get my body, prop it up in that toilet, switch gear, switch vest, guns, and helmets with him, and then hide inside that little hole up in the roof within a span of about 5 seconds. I think he probably should have barricaded the door with like a bed, or a table or something, giving, you know, which would have delayed my sniper further, and and he would have more time to do this clever little switcheroo over here. But that never happened.
Don't blame me is all I'm gonna say.
Oh, well, whatever. At least it led to this all-time classic moment in Film Team 6. Top 10 saddest anime deaths. Boom. Once again, Bob's harrowing performance, his screams over here are just candid sounds of him playing, what's it, Castlevania? Or him just losing in Castlevania. It'll come up again later. I think it's a pretty solid shot of the villain, like, against the gray sky.
Yeah, I mean, I'm the one who shot that, so of course it looks good.
Not me acting like a total gun moron over here.
Oh, to be fair, everybody acts like a gun moron.
Your hair, bro. You look like Ralph Bakshi's Frodo. What the hell is that? It looks like Paul McCartney.
It's to emanate the
70s, yeah, exactly.
70s look.
I think this is a pretty neat setup for a fight scene. I do wish that our later movies would take advantage of our roofs.
Nothing
better than a roof fight scene. Just one thing that I think our Jalo movie did well, that had like a whole chase scene inside a roof, which
Mickey D said that a lot of this movie is good in theory.
Yes,
paper,
I think a lot of this like kind of
it's
works
ideation.
on paper. Like having a fight scene here in the roof, or a lot of like the situations are like potentially could be pretty tense if it's with characters we actually cared about. Or this over here, the way the main villain gets defeated with Bob throwing the machete, slicing his head off, I think could work if we had like the proper gore effects for it. Like just like the pacing of the edit, I think could work in theory. It takes him forever to get his gun though. Freeze frame, neither hills have eyes influence. Very drastically changes kind of time of day. This is like mid-afternoon over here. We're gonna cut to twilight in a little bit. Interesting zone of interest transition over there. Yeah, Jonathan Glazer waiting for our check. And you can't really tell from like with the camera we're using, but there's Javi again. But this guy is actually like this very pretty like pink. It'll take a pink sunset with a lot of dark gray storm clouds. Gave it like almost like Lovecraftian look to it, which I think would have looked great if we had like the proper camera to capture it.
This is before the days we got our black magic, so I mean, I'm not one to say what camera's better, but I think it would have made this look better. I mean, or maybe just proper color grading would have helped also.
Okay, now we get this scene that goes on for a million years. So yeah, we have this kind of flashback to revealing this whole thing as being sort of like this Russian experiment. As these young men are captured and tortured, and I guess they're sort of conditioned to become like these mindless killing machines, or well, that's implied. So you can tell, like I'm wearing a trench coat. So I mean, I'm wearing a white lab coat. So clearly, I'm an evil Russian scientist. I think at one point we did plan on kind of shooting our own like weird, fucked up experimental art footage that would be shown, Clockwork Orange style. But we got lazy. We figured it was a lot easier just getting this random shit. That's Mac holding his own eyelids and applying, putting water in his own eyeballs because I'm the one holding the camera.
We need to know what we're doing.
Kind of gotta have our silent movie references with Faust and Dante's Inferno. I think we went to a bunch of like top 10 disturbing silent black and white movies.
All that footage was taken.
Well,
from
that's not
one
true.
video.
Some of it's from like actual war footage.
No, I mean like the silent movie footage was all from one video. Of
We won't say
Titans.
which though. Top 10 disturbing black and white movies. There's like The Man Who Laughs and Nosferatu, but I mean, we figured those would be kind of incongruous here. It does lead to this pretty fun fight, which again, in theory, is pretty fun. Yeah, we just had to turn on the lights because
we didn't have our big spotlights before. I just had to rely on all natural lighting.
Mm-hmm. Now here's this fun moment over here. Boom. Boom. And yes, we did shoot this before. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. So Tarantino, we're waiting for a check once again. And you can see the HK just lying down over there. I don't know why nobody's using it. It's just there.
Yeah. I don't know why we have a gun there.
Oh, that's great. You have the L again, still playing Castlevania. And I'm over there as the kind of the crotch double for Bob. That hurt.
That was real.
For a real kick.
Yep, that was a real kick.
Oddly enough, the biggest influence behind this fight scene was the movie Spy by Paul Feig. There's like a kitchen fight over there, and like where briefly Melissa McCarthy, like a slapstick comedy moment, she uses like a knife. She uses like during a knife fight, she brings out like a pan, kind of protects like herself with it. That's kind of what provided the basis for this fight scene. You can see the balloon pump we used for all of the blood squibs just lying there. Okay, and we had a bunch of alternate endings planned out, some of which we did film. So what was supposed to happen here? So he's the last contestant, I suppose. He wakes back up only for the scientists to kill him. It's just another pawn in their game. Just another experiment with the ending time lapse to morning, kind of indicating that like everything will just kind of reset itself as they bring in their new batch of contestants. Originally, when Mac looks up at the sky over here, we were supposed to kind of impose the letters "Winner, winner, chicken dinner" up in the sky, which is kind of how it ends in PUBG in the game. But I don't know, why did we do away with that? I guess it was just kind of out of place in this movie, isn't it?
And then
it wouldn't really have any reason. There wouldn't be any reason for the scientists to be kind of like, displaying that in the first place. So.
And for the other alternate endings, what do we have?
Okay, well, one of them, instead of having the words "winner, winner, chicken dinner" in the sky, he would have actually found like a chicken. Like,
no, it was supposed to be on the sky, and then
and then he finds, which we did actually film this ending, didn't we? It was just like a bucket of Shakey's chicken and the ground, but the lighting was so poor, and like you just couldn't even tell it was chicken. It just looked like some weird bucket with a gross, like, soggy mass inside. So scrap that ending. There's another one where it was supposed to be revealed that like Mac was just like it goes all meta. It kind of snaps into the real world, and Mac is just playing this video game, which he then critiques as being pretentious, and then he shuts off his laptop.
And then for our last ending, which we did also shoot.
We were supposed to pay homage to Blood Debts, where Mac pulls out a flare gun right before killing Bob. He pulls out a flare gun, shoots him with it. He blows up, which we did. We shot kind of a practical. We kind of made like a cutout, like a tiny cutout print of Bob, which he blew up with an aerosol can in the match. But the effect didn't look great, and I don't know. I mean, we never released any of the alternate endings. So we decided to kind of scrap that ending, and we ended up paying homage to it anyways with John Thick Part 3.
Yeah.
Yes. And so, the movie, it's rough. It's kind of shit. But, it was an interesting kind of trial exercise for us to kind of try just making an action movie, making a 70s horror throwback which is something we would, I think, kind of
Do for every other
refine.
movie.
Yeah, but we refined and kind of perfected as we went on. So we had to start from somewhere.
Yeah, no. I feel like disowning this movie. It's not the greatest showcase of our work, but thank you for watching.